welcome back to another little painting demonstration. I thought today we would have a go at painting a train. It's not so much the train. I wanted to try and paint the steam and the smoke that comes out of a train and try and make that look a bit more natural and a bit more convincing, because I was looking at a lot of paintings and we can have a tendency to make it look a little bit false by giving it too many hard edges. So I thought I don't know really how to approach it, so I just thought I'd have a go at painting it myself. So the train might look a little bit like Thomas the Tank Engine, but we're really more interested in the plume of steam and smoke that's coming out of it, out the top. So really this video, this demo is kind of a little bit about hard and soft edges, the importance of those edges in your painting. First of all, I'm just tinting that paper because I don't know about you, I really can't bear white paper in front of me when I start painting. I'm really happy when I can actually get some colour on the page and take that white glare away. So I'm just tinting it with a mixture of warm and cool colours, a bit of ultramarine, burnt sienna, raw sienna, and just working my way down the page, keeping the wash very wet, quite wet, and allowing it to flow down the page as I go. When I did the drawing, I didn't worry about being very precise. I did quite a rough drawing because I wanted to be able to keep the painting loose. I find if I do a drawing that's too tight and I worry about too much detail in the drawing, then I tend to want to fill in every line when I paint. So I'm kind of more conscious about it these days, and I tend to paint I tend to draw in a much looser fashion. So my paintings tend to end up loose. Sometimes a little bit too loose, but overall it kind of works. Right, you can see I'm starting to paint the body of the train, and for that I'm using some ultramarine and burnt umber, and in places I've added a little bit of burnt sienna just to add some interest and to basically to stop it from looking flat, a bit of flat colour. This is just basically a flat wash over the body of the train, and creating the shape and the form of the train will come later when we use the next wash. So your first wash is just covering the train, and then you'll pull out some of the detail by suggesting the light and dark. Where the light's catching it, that's kind of suggesting the detail later on. We've got the wheels there underneath the train. I kind of looked at the wheels, I thought, oh my gosh, how could I ever paint that? I can't, as simple as that, and I don't want to either. I want to use paint for what I feel I can do best with it, and that is suggesting the detail. I know some people can paint, mechanical subjects in great detail, and they do it brilliantly. And I'll just leave that to them because I wouldn't do a very good job. So just painting the carriages, a bit of burnt sienna, adding a little bit of detail here and then there, but it's very suggestive. Okay, the dreaded train tracks. Always kind of wouldn't fancy painting that, so I just literally sketched them in very loosely and then painted them in with a couple of sweeps. Not worrying too much if they look a little bit wobbly, because if you do the whole painting in a loose fashion, then it hangs together well. If you do one part really tight and overwork it, then another part really loose, it can, I don't know, stand out a bit and not look so great. So keep it, if you're going to go really loose, keep it loose. If you want to paint really tight and really precisely, then stay that way throughout the painting. So we're just painting in the background now. Now this is all about the hard and soft edges now. This is the important part really. It's a very loose wash, but I'm very conscious of where the steam and the smoke is coming out of the top of the train. So I'm painting kind of up to where the steam is, and I'm softening the edges. I don't want lots of hard edges up to where the steam is coming and smoke is coming out. So this will slowly develop over the period of the course of the painting. Right, this is just the mountain in the background. There's a kind of a big hill, mountain, whatever, in the background. I'm just suggesting that in a bit of cool colour. And there's a few houses at the back there, sort of old cottages, which again, I don't want to do too much detail because it will take away from the train itself. So I wanted the train to be the focal point and just have everything else around it a bit suggestive. Now we're kind of finding a way to pull out the detail in the train, and that's just by adding a little bit of darker colour. And we've got some burnt sienna with some ultramarine, and it does that well. The brush I'm using is my Chinese brush. You may have heard me mention and talk about it before. I bought this off Amazon, oh my gosh, I don't know, about 5 years ago. It's goat hair, and it cost me about £6, I think. And it's absolutely fabulous. It just keeps going and going, and it's such a useful brush. It really is. It's probably it's my favourite. I've got some quite expensive brushes, and this one's one of my cheapest, and it's my favourite. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive paints, and you certainly don't have to spend money on expensive brushes. You can have one or two really nice ones, and then a few more budget ones under, to make them up. Okay, so I'm using the darker colour to create the form, the shape of the train, just looking where the shadows are, and that's kind of helped me to suggest the detail without having to paint everything in great detail. And the colour I'm using for that is burnt umber and ultramarine. It's lovely when the minute you start putting those darker colours on, you could see the train, the shape coming out on the train. And it was nice. It was an enjoyable thing to do. Very impressionistic. I might have said that already. I'm not trying to kid myself. It's not an accurate portrayal of the train, just a very loose impression. I don't think I've ever painted a train before, actually. I think it's my first go, so I was quite pleased with it. I was trying not to fiddle too much, trying to keep the discipline. I don't want to get back to fiddling and trying to overwork things, basically. Just painting in the background now with the cottages, just suggesting them. As I said earlier, I don't want to overdo it and create too much detail, because it would just take the viewer's eye back there. It's the roof. You can see I painted up to where the steam is, the smoke is. Again, leaving that pure, sort of just the warm colour I tinted the paper with. Now just painting in the shadows that come across the track. This helps but adding the cool colours across the track helps to create a feeling of light, in my opinion. It gives the painting a nice bright sunny feel to it. Okay, we've got the tree coming up at the back, and again I'm being very mindful of the steam and smoke coming out the top, so I soften that edge, so later when we do the modelling of the steam it will look more natural. This is the signal box. Very loose interpretation. Just suggesting the sleepers and everything that go across the track. But I think the shadow really helped the foreground pull together a little bit more. Using quite a a simple selection of colours here. Well, let me have a look. What did I use? Ultramarine, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, raw sienna, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and alizarin crimson. So it's the sort of colours, you know, you could do many different sorts of paintings in this style, but they are the colours that most people have got in their box. And you know, I could probably go out and I'd be quite happy with that selection of colours to do most of my paintings. Maybe adding Viridian would be a nice, maybe magenta, but there are a couple of colours that I'd like to add to that. But you don't need hundreds of colours in your box, in my opinion. You can get by with 10, maybe 11 or 12 colours. Some of those you won't use very often, but as I said, the colours I would use would be the ultramarine, the cobalt blue, the cerulean blue, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, alizarin, and the umbers, burnt umber, burnt sienna and raw sienna. And the colours I'd add to that would be Viridian and magenta. So with that I'll be quite content. Maybe lemon yellow as well. But there's some colours I can't even mention these days that come out, and I think, gosh, I couldn't. If I had too many colours in my paint box, I'd be confused, basically. Right. So now we're back to the painting. So you can see we're trying to carve out the edge of the steam here and try and sort of create that feeling of smoke. I kind of possibly overworked it a little bit too much towards the end. I quite like that stage, actually, looking at it. I quite like seeing it like that. But nevertheless, it is what it is now. So it's just coming to and fro, very faint wash, very wet washes, softening the edges as we go. That's always a crucial part, keep softening the edges. Because what happens is that you think it's soft, and then you look away from it and you concentrate on a different area, and you notice the part you did a couple of minutes ago is dried, and you thought it was a soft edge, but it actually ends up drying with a hard edge, and that can be really annoying. So you've got to keep, as it dries, you've got to keep just going back to it and making sure it doesn't alter. But I don't think it actually helps the painting, having all this raggedy edge around it. I think if it was a nice crisp edge, it would look a lot better than it does. So perhaps if I put it in a mount or something, it would look a bit tidier. It just looks scruffy. And as I said earlier, that's what I was doing. I was going back and making, as the edges were drying, I was just damping my brush and going back and softening them. I wasn't just leaving it to dry without me keeping an eye on it, because I knew they were going to dry with hard lines. Okay then, it's coming to an end. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'll be back next week with another video, and as soon as I can get outside doing some plein air, we'll be doing some plein air paintings. So thanks ever so much for watching. Enjoy your painting if you do so over the coming week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.